Welcome to the IIBA Tampa Bay, Florida chapter. This is our study group for March 27th, 2025. This is our 157th class. Tonight we have the pleasure of having KimMerritt here. She's going to talk about, her talk is called From Onboarding to Upscaling, Master the Art of Online Course Development for Your Team. My name is Thea Soren. I'm the president of this chapter. I am also one of the authors of the body of knowledge. I've done a bunch of stuff. But what it really comes down to is it's my job to help you. If you have a question, if you have a concern, please reach out to me. The fastest way to reach out to me is through LinkedIn. My name is spelled a little bit weird. You're going to see it a few more times through this. I don't mind if you misspell my name, but if you're trying to reach me and you misspell my name, it's a hard thing to do. So spell my name right, reach out to me. I'll do my very best to help you. I want to highlight our wall of certification fame. These are the folks that have gone through our study course and have reached back out to us to say your study course is one of the reasons that I was able to pass my certification test. Several of them in red and green have gone on to lead other IIBA chapters or this IIBA chapter, which is a testament of their value of the importance in this for the certification and the IIBA itself. This is our board. The board of the Tampa Bay IIBA. Don't they look good? Good looking folks. These folks work behind the scenes to be sure that you have speakers, to be sure that your website is updated. Our Tampa Bay IIBA website is updated, to be sure that you have the recordings on YouTube, to be sure. I mean, they be sure of so many things. Give them some love. If you don't know somebody, reach out and introduce yourself. Our mission here is to equip business analysts with knowledge, tools, and support needed to excel in their roles through targeted training, mentorship, and fostering a professional community. We empower business analysts to drive impactful decisions, collaborate closely with stakeholders, enhance organizational efficiency, and elevate the practice of business analysis because we are the Tampa Bay IIBA. We have members all over the world. We have more participants than this, but these are the people who are actually members of our chapter. And we don't care where you live. If we can provide service for you, you're free and happy. We are happy for you to be a member of the Tampa Bay IIBA. We've given you several ways to reach out to us. The first one is our website at TampaBay.IIBA.org. There you can find our events and other information about our chapter. Another one is our LinkedIn page. Cliff works hard to keep this page updated, and we put some pretty good stuff there. So if you're not a member of that and following it, please follow it. We have our videos of all of these from the study group, the general study group, or the BABOK study group. We have them all out on YouTube, and with over 150, you can imagine it's hard to find what you're looking for if you don't know. Bob has put together Bob's Amazing Index for us. If you go to rpchurchill.com and click on Tampa IIBA Study Group, you will get a list of everything. You can look it up by name, by date, by topic, by area of the BABOK. He's done a fantastic job for us. We sincerely appreciate him. Speaking of Bob, here's a picture of him. Again, rpchurchill.com. That's where his the Bob's Amazing list is. He also has a lot of other good blog posts on that. And it's not only business analysis, but project management, process-oriented architecture, many good things. Also, he and Esther are our study group advisors. We are, as you know, located in Florida. Many of us are not. We're scattered all around the world, literally. But those people that are in Florida, if you want to meet in person, we have ways to do that. We have someone interested in starting a in-person just get together social time in Tampa. We have someone else talking about Orlando. We need some leaders. If you're interested in just helping us find a restaurant that people can meet at and give us a date and time, we will publicize it and see who shows up. Maybe we can get some synergy going and get people to work together. I want to talk about the elephant in the room. We know that there are jobs out there. You may know of those jobs. We know that we have talent in here. I have named myself the BA matchmaker. If you have jobs coming up, let me know what they are, and I'll try to give you some people that I know that would qualify for those jobs. Reach out to me again through LinkedIn. These are associations we are partnering with. We've got all kinds of associations, many chapters around the world. We've got IIBA chapters. We have the BABOK Association. We also have some other groups that we are partnering with. We're doing this so that we can bring in new information and provide it to you. If you know of an association that would like to partner with us or that we should reach out to, please contact me or contact them and let's get it done. We want to talk about emerging professionals. These are folks that are either going into college or currently in college. We want them to be able to graduate college with not only a college degree, but a professional association. We want them to have a professional certification. And even better yet, if they are networking within that profession, they have a lot better chance of success in their career. You know that we talk here at the IIBA about our 7 certifications that we offer. These 3 certifications are out of the body of knowledge. The other 4 are professional certifications. But of these 3, I want to talk about the ECBA. The ECBA, I just got the email before the meeting. The ECBA is changing. So ECBA is our entry certificate for business analysis. This does not require you to have any experience at all. It does require you to do some studying. And the changes are going to come into effect on July 21st. The test is going to get 15 minutes longer. They're going to ask you to understand the concepts, and I'm anticipating the test is going to get a little bit harder. So if you or somebody you know who is studying for the ECBA, I would highly recommend that you try to get it taken before July 21st, because it'll be easier for you to pass. Watermark Learning, one of our great partners, has given us a discount code of Tampa21. Tampa21 will give you 40% off of your purchase through Watermark. Here is an example. The study bank of test questions that we use, you can get the 40% off here. And here's an example. It brings the 90-day subscription down to the same rate of the 30-day subscription, which is quite an asset whenever you need to be drilling yourself on these practice test questions. Adaptive US has also given us a discount code of 20% off. That is on all of their live classes and on-demand courses, excluding IIBA exam vouchers. We do have Project Summit Business Analysis World coming up in Orlando. We have 2 of our illustrious board members that are going to be there to talk to people, but we also have this discount code for you. If you want to use it for your group rates, it's 10% off. European Business Analysis Day is coming up. It's a little in the future, but I want you to know about it now. 3 days of ideas from the other side of the world. It's all day long events, and because I founded the BA Force Multipliers, they've given us a discount code. If you're interested in that, I'm happy to drop those links in the chat and give them to you. Several of you may have joined the skills development group, AI Day today. If you did, I would love to hear what you thought about it. And now we are going to have KimMerritt talk to us. Kim is going to talk to us about so many important things that you need to know if your company is interested in creating e-learning or work on training. She has more information than I even understand. We'll come back to her in just one moment. On March 31st, Vital Coaching course from Skills Development Group is going to be held at the Bluegrass chapter. You can go to the Bluegrass chapter for more information on that. And then on March 31st, that evening, they're going to have Mastering the Data Dance for Data Governance Framework. If your organization doesn't understand data governance, you are hurting yourself. I really encourage you to at least learn the basics of this. This is with Dr. Joe Perez. Next week, Aaron Wittenberger and I are going to walk through and play with you with some collaborative games. This is just so that you become familiar with them, and then you can take them back to your own organization. On March 3rd, there's going to be the Business and Data Analytics Virtual Study Group starting. This is a 6-session group. And then, same thing, so sorry. Next one is we're going to have business analysis recruiters. I want 4 recruiters to come on and talk about What is the current job market looking like? What skills do we need to be learning for jobs coming in the near future? Salesforce is one that I've been hearing a lot of lately. What other position changes do you see in our positions for the near future? Many of you have been pushed into product ownership instead of business analysis. What do they see coming? And then what skills do we need to grow to be prepared? How can we best orient ourselves should we need to be prepared for that? On April 11th, Bluegrass is going to have a lunch and learn talk about decision tree with Yulia Kostinko. She's an excellent speaker for business analysis. I encourage you to participate in that. And then the last one I'm going to talk about is going beyond ChatGPT with AI agents. That's going to be again with the Bluegrass chapter. Kim, I'm going to turn it over to you. And I am so excited to see your presentation.
Thank you so much. Let me get my presentation up. There we go. Welcome everybody to our presentation for this evening, from onboarding to upskilling, master the art of online course development for your team. I am an e-learning specialist, an LMS consultant, and an online marketing strategist. I founded my company, The URL Doctor, in 2008. We are an e-learning development company that works with corporate clients to help them train their team members, customers, and partners. Our learning solutions have been used by companies such as Denny's and AT&T, but we also work with solopreneurs and startups and all types and sizes of companies in between. We develop custom e-learning courses. We help clients pick and develop learning management systems. We create video and animation for training, and we provide a library of off-the-shelf business soft skill courses in and out of custom learning platforms for cost-effective training. And I appreciate you inviting me to speak to you tonight, and I hope I can add value in the area of online training. So our agenda for this evening, we have three main areas that we're going to cover. The first is e-learning itself. We'll cover the basics, types of courses, how to plan an e-learning project, micro-learning, and best practices in online course design. Then we're going to move into learning management systems, or LMS systems. We'll go over what an LMS system is, the basics, how to pick one, and LMS best practices in setting them up. And last but not least, we'll discuss video for e-learning. We'll talk about the basics of video and animation, best practices for using video in e-learning courses and for training, and how to create your own in-office or in-home studio for e-learning video. We'll end tonight with a Q&A session, so be thinking of questions as I go through the presentation. Happy to answer them. Okay, let's get started. E-learning.
Kim's screen.
Yes. If you go up to the top, the view options, just change it.
Okay.
Like last week.
I just wanted to be sure they could see you, Kim. Thank you.
Okay. Everybody can see. Good. We're going to start the conversation tonight with e-learning. So we'll discuss what is e-learning, what are the different types of e-learning courses that you can use, how to plan an e-learning project. We'll talk about the basics of micro-learning, and then we're going to wrap up with best practices in e-learning course design. So the first thing we want to discuss is types of e-learning courses, and there's really two main types. Video-based courses are courses that are made up primarily of video content and do not have interactive elements. And then interactive courses feature elements that allow the learner to interact with the course material and tend to be more engaging. So let's look at each. So video courses, pretty self-explanatory. They're video, recorded live presentations. They can be recorded PowerPoints. They can be talking head video, but they're mainly video with some text. They might also have a PDF that can be downloaded. They might have a couple of quiz questions, multiple choice at the end, but they are mainly video. They can be posted on a website, they can be put out on social media, and then they can also be uploaded into an LMS. So on the flip side of that, we have interactive courses. And this is where the learner interacts with the course elements in the course. And they are a SCORM file. You'll hear SCORM, and you may have heard that before and not understood what it is. So SCORM stands for Shareable Content Object Reference Model. It's a set of technical standards for e-learning content. So you create interactive courses in an authoring tool, and we're going to discuss those in just a minute. And the file format exported out of that authoring tool for an interactive course is either a SCORM file, or it could also be a tin can XAPI file. Very similar. We're just, for tonight, we're going to call them all SCORM files just for ease of discussion. So your interactive SCORM files need to be uploaded into a SCORM compatible learning management system. Not all LMS systems will take SCORM files. And SCORM files guarantee that your course will look and play the same in any LMS system that you import it into. So it guarantees consistency of your course. Interactive courses tend to be highly engaging, much more so than video, and their completion rates tend to be higher. So we mentioned authoring tools. So if you want to have an interactive course with drag and drop elements and flashcards and pictures with hotspots that enlarge with more content, matching elements and scenarios, you need to use a course authoring tool like Adobe Captivate, Articulate Storyline, or Articulate Rise 360, or iSpring. So think about it this way. A graphic artist would use PowerPoint to design an image. An instructional designer uses one of these authoring tools to design an interactive course. When the designer is finished laying out that course, it is exported in a file format, a SCORM file, that an LMS system can import very easily. You import the file, and in most cases, your course is ready to go. So you have video and interactive courses, but you can also have synchronous and asynchronous courses. So let's discuss the pros and cons of each. So synchronous learning is a type of learning where students and instructors engage with course material and each other at the same time. Learning sessions are scheduled at a set time and place. Learning can take place in person or online, and they can include live classes, meetings, or other activities. So synchronous learning offers the advantage of real-time conversation with trainers or peers. There's a high level of interaction with students being able to ask questions and communicate with the instructor, and a lot of times each other, which can keep students motivated and engaged. But synchronous learning needs an instructor and a location, whether it be a physical location or an online Zoom or WebEx account. It can be inconvenient for learners and instructors based on the set schedule of training. Quality of learning sessions can vary from instructor to instructor, and it can be difficult for instructors to give personalized attention to all learners and can lead to fatigue and reduced productivity. Asynchronous, on the other hand, is a flexible learning method that allows students to learn at their own pace. Courses and training happen without the need for real instruction with an instructor or classmates. Sessions can take place online and can be much more cost-effective than training done in person. In asynchronous learning, students can access course material at any time and learn on the go. Learning is self-paced, with students taking courses and completing assignments on their own schedule. Now, one big downside of asynchronous work is the lack of immediacy. There's no immediate feedback given to students, and therefore it can be confusion over expectations depending on whether or not the training is being assigned in a work environment. There is a need for a learning management system to manage students and their progress. So now that we know we've talked about different types of courses, let's talk about how to plan an e-learning project. Because planning and goal setting are key for any successful project, including an e-learning course development project. So we start with developing the course goal. That's really kind of the first thing. By taking the time to set a clear goal at the beginning, you can ensure that your project stays on track. An e-learning course goal should broadly state what you want learners to be able to do at the completion of your course. It's the broad skill that is the outcome you want your learners to achieve. Then we're going to set e-learning course objectives. The learning objectives in an e-learning course are the individual results that you want your learners to achieve based on the course goals that you established. We recommend using the SMART technique to establish your learning objectives, because if you don't have clear and specific objectives, it's going to be very hard to create course content that meets your learners' needs. Learning objectives should be easy to understand, they should be measurable, achievable, and relevant. They should communicate to your learner what they will be able to do after taking your course. Learning objectives should describe knowledge, mastery of a skill, or a change in attitude that your learners will acquire by taking the course. So considerations as you develop learning objectives. How are you going to measure success? Is there going to be a quiz at the end of the course that you're going to test somebody of their knowledge? Is the person taking that course supposed to be able to pass a live proctored test afterwards? Are they supposed to be able to increase the productivity in their job? So how will you measure success? Another important question is, who is the audience for the training? Courses should be designed to speak to the audience that is going to be taking the course. It should be taught in their language, and it should definitely address their particular needs. And then, what are your learning objectives? Another aspect of planning is creating budgets and timelines. Every e-learning project needs to have a budget. You're going to have technology involved. What technology are you going to need? What is the budget that you have around that type of technology? And the people involved? And then what is your time frame? What is the start time? What's the stop time? When do you have to have courses complete? You definitely want to associate a time and a budget. So let's talk about microlearning. Microlearning is an innovative approach to e-learning that focuses on delivering content in small, manageable segments that are often referred to as bite-sized learning. It contrasts with traditional learning methods that involve lengthy lessons or modules by offering shorter, focused learning activities that can be completed in a few minutes. These micro units are designed to meet specific learning objectives and can be delivered in a variety of formats, including short videos, quizzes, infographics, or interactive modules. So with microlearning, again, providing lesson content in small, more focused segments, and we're talking 5 to 10 to 15 minutes, short. They teach a single subject. They're very effective with digital native generations with shorter attention spans. We love our 20 and 30 somethings, but sometimes their attention spans can be very short and it can be a challenge. Microlearning plays into that. And shorter segments improve engagement and retention. The key to effective microlearning is knowing your content intimately and understanding how best to organize it into smaller segments for your learners. So as an example, at the URL Doctor, we are big on microlearning. And as an example of how we've used this approach to online training, our company developed a library of 700 business soft skill micro courses in 35 different categories called Your Training Base. So our courses range from 5 to 15 minutes in seat time. They all teach a single subject. And we've designed the courses in learning tracks with a curriculum guide. So putting together a training plan for a team is quick and easy and cost effective. Companies can utilize our yourtrainingbase.com system, or we can white label a solution just for them at a fraction of the cost of developing custom courses and a custom LMS. And if you'd like a test drive, please put your information in the chat window or email me after the presentation, and I would be happy to set up a short free test drive for you. So best practices in e-learning course design. Making smart choices at the beginning of the project can go a long way towards saving you time, money, and headaches once you're fully into the production of your course. So best practices. Know your audience. Understand who you're trying to market your course to or who's going to be taking the course so you can effectively cater to their needs. Have clear, specific objectives and goals. Understand what would make your e-learning course successful for your learners and for your company. Great content equals great learning. High quality content will keep your learners engaged and make it more likely that they will retain your information. Mobile compatibility. Make sure your content is available on the go. Utilize microlearning, have more short lessons as opposed to fewer longer lessons. Know your systems. Understand the tools you'll be using to get the most out of them and make them work for you and your content. Templates let you work smarter, not harder. Save yourself time and money by modifying templates instead of starting from scratch. Less is more. Remember that learners' attention spans are limited, and they may need breaks to help them digest the content. Less text, more video. Text becomes tiring quickly, while video is entertaining and engaging if made properly. And utilize feedback tools. use learner feedback to make improvements to your course over time. So now let's talk about LMS systems. So e-learning courses need technology to allow learners to take your course, for you to manage learners in their course journey. So in this section of the presentation, we're going to answer the question, what is an LMS system? We'll discover the key features of learning management systems, how to pick one, LMS best practices, and we'll talk about SCORM and e-learning. So LMS systems, the basics. A learning management system, or LMS systems, is a software platform or application used to deliver, manage, and track education or training content. It serves as a centralized hub for online learning. It provides tools and features that facilitate the creation, delivery, and assessment of learning experiences. What LMS you're going to use dictates how your course is going to be designed, what kind of visuals you're going to use, whether or not you're going to have interactive elements in your course, and what kind of reporting and analytics you'll receive. If you design the course first, you could either miss functionality and features that you could have built into your course, or you could be forced to choose a more expensive LMS that your budget really can't afford to be able to host your course. So for learners, an LMS system is going to allow them to access online courses. It allows them to complete their assignments online. It tracks the learner progress for them. It allows them to connect with other learners if the LMS has community features. Not all do, but many of them do. Allows them to connect with other learners and an instructor. And again, if the LMS system has that capability, they can play games and have gamification elements as part of courses, which is a great way to teach. So on the flip side of that, LMS uses for course authors and trainers. So it's going to store your course content. It's going to track enrollment and progress of your learners. It's going to allow you to evaluate course effectiveness with feedback and interaction. It allows you to design, some allow you to design course content. A lot of LMS systems have built-in authoring tools, so you could actually build the course within the LMS. And it will identify areas where learners may need additional support. So LMS differences. You have LMSs that are SCORM compatible versus not. You have per user pricing versus a flat fee. We'll talk about that in a minute. Some have course authoring tools built in, some do not. Gamification capabilities and communities. So the LMS you choose, again, will have ramifications for how you're able to build content, what course authoring tool you're going to be able to use, what type of services you're able to offer your learners, how you're able to track analytics and user data, and perhaps most importantly, what the ongoing costs of your LMS system will require. So it's important to understand as much as you can about the LMS systems you're going to consider before you buy. So we have two main types of LMS systems, open source and closed source, very similar to websites. So an open source LMS is going to allow anyone to access, modify, and distribute the source code freely. Popular open source platforms include Moodle, LearnDash for WordPress, and Canvas. The flip side of that is closed source LMSs, which are proprietary platforms where the source code is restricted, meaning modifications and distributions are controlled by the vendor. Leading examples include Talent LMS, Kajabi, and Thinkific. And there's some systems that are quasi-closed source platforms with a semi-open API that allows some custom programming. And an example of that would be LearnWorlds. I will say that there are just hundreds and hundreds of LMS systems out there. I am just very hardly scratching the surface. There's a lot of them to choose from. So the pros of an open source LMS, they can be cost effective. Open source LMSs are often generally cheaper as they don't require licensing or per user fees. There is collaborative development. Open source communities continuously improve the software, adding new features and updates regularly. Developer access. The open source nature attracts a broad developer community, making customizations more accessible. And flexibility. Open source LMSs can be custom tailored to suit specific needs, providing greater customization options that closed source solutions just can't do. The cons, technical knowledge needed. Open source systems most definitely require more expertise and setup and maintenance, ongoing maintenance. And security risks. The open code base sometimes can lead to potential security vulnerabilities. Another one that I don't have on the slide that I forgot to update is, although they tend to be more cost effective on the front end, the hosting fees on some of these systems, particularly LearnDash, because I was a LearnDash developer for more than a decade, can be much more expensive than the closed source systems. So you have to consider all the options from start to finish when you look at an open source LMS if it's really going to be cheaper. So closed source systems, definitely a simpler setup. Closed source LMSs generally offer smoother setup with detailed vendor documentation and support a lot of times, which is better than the open source systems. Enhanced security, restricted access to the source code can definitely make closed source platforms more secure. There is definitely a less steep learning curve. All technology has a learning curve, all software has a learning curve, but the closed source systems generally are easier to navigate, learn how to customize it, and start to manage than having to learn an open source LMS. The cons, they may have a higher cost. Limited control. With development in the vendor's hands, customization options are restricted. You may not have the ability to do certain things. And delayed updates. You're at the mercy of the vendor for the schedule of new features and improvements. They can tell you it's coming out next week or next month, and it may actually end up being 4 or 5 months. So both types of systems definitely have their pros and cons. So there's 3 main pricing models for LMS systems. The first is flat fee pricing. These are generally smaller systems, but not always. Sometimes there's systems with less function and features, but again, not always. But it's a flat fee on a monthly or an annual basis for an unlimited number of users. Then we have a pay per registered user model where you pay for every single registered user, whether they're active or not. Doesn't matter if they log in to take a course this month or next month. If they are registered in the system, you're going to pay for that user. And then there's the pay per active user model where you're not paying for registered users, you're only paying for the users that log in a particular month. So you need to make sure when you're looking at LMS systems, which model it is. And for example, Talent LMS, as an example, has number 2 and number 3 that you can choose from. So you really kind of have to consider how many people, how many learners you're going to have in the system, how your system's going to grow from the time you launch it over the course of the next couple of years. There's a lot of different considerations to come down to what it's actually going to cost you to have this LMS system on an annual basis. So review your options and pick an LMS before you start building your course content with an authoring program. You'll want to know if your chosen LMS accepts the type of file, whether it's SCORM or Tin Can or Storyline files that you're going to export from your chosen authoring program. You want to think about your ongoing e-learning experience needs. Do you plan to build another 20 or 200 courses after the first one? Do you have a general sense of how many learners you're going to need to register? Different LMS systems will offer different options for all of these requirements. So you really need to think about what you need and what access you want to have to make your selection with the future in mind. An LMS is an ongoing expense. There is really no way around it. So make sure you're looking at what you can afford, both for the initial setup and for the long term. Different systems will offer different pricing options. So what to look for in an LMS system? So number 1, what I look for and what I have my learners or my companies look for is SCORM compatibility. You want to look for an LMS that has SCORM compatibility. Even if you're going to do some video courses, this gives you a larger option of the types of courses that you can have in your system. I also tell my clients to look for LMS systems that have the ability to build out extra pages so that you can use your LMS system as a website too, if you choose to do that. Even companies that have 2 completely separate websites, a website for their business and an LMS system, a lot of times want additional pages and they want to build information out on their LMS system. So you want to look for one that has those capabilities. If you're going to sell your course, you need an e-commerce cart, whether you're selling B2B or B2C. If that's an option, then you definitely need to have a shopping cart on your site. Automated workflows are a great feature. You can save a lot of admin and management time by automating tasks within your LMS. Open APIs or semi-open APIs, so systems that allow customization, could be important to you. Know what's available for the systems you're looking at. An affiliate program. So if you're selling courses, an affiliate program might be something that you would be interested in. It's a great way to sell more courses with partner programs. Easy if it's built into the LMS. Surveys. Built-in surveys are a great way to get learner feedback about your courses and your content. Certificates, a system that's going to automatically auto-generate certificates when a course is complete for your learners, so you don't have to do it manually. You want to look at reporting and consider your reporting needs and make sure to choose a system that has the report and the customization features that you need. Community features. Choose an LMS that allows your learners to communicate with each others in closed private groups, perhaps, and also maybe with instructors. Blended learning is a great feature of some LMS systems that can do asynchronous and synchronous courses at the same time. And then subscriptions. Again, if you're selling courses, LMS that allows you to sell your courses as a subscription, as bundles, and as single courses is a great feature. So I'll give you a short little suggestion. This is my favorite LMS. LearnWorlds is a system that we probably put about 85% of our corporate clients into, as well as our course authors. It's great for small companies, as well as it has features of enterprise level as well. And it is a flat fee pricing model in bands. So their beginning pricing, $29.99 or $249 a month, is extremely cost effective for the features that this particular system has. That's for up to 2,000 users, 2,000 active users. It comes with a mobile app. It comes with workflows, automations, and mass email capabilities. It has B2B sales management capabilities, and it's SCORM compatible. We are a development partner of LearnWorlds. I've got a lot of videos on my YouTube channel about how to pick LMS systems and why I like this particular one and how we use it as a company as well as our clients. If you decide to try it, please use the coupon code URLDR10 and you can get 10% off the first 6 months of service. So LMS best practices. So now that you're familiar with the key features to consider in an LMS, let's explore best practices for implementing and setting up your system. So like any software rollout, there are several important steps to take to ensure a seamless launch for your e-learning course and platform. So best practices. Define objectives and measurable goals. So just like when you plan your e-learning course, before you begin, clearly define your objectives and set goals for your LMS project. This may seem obvious, but it's crucial to take the time to assess what you hope to achieve by implementing an LMS system in your company. Identify the right team. It's essential to select the right people, whether they're inside the company or whether they're outside or a combination of both, to cover all areas of the project. I can't tell you how many companies call me when they're about 60% of the way through trying to set their LMS system up and have discovered, whoops, this is way more than I thought it was going to be, and we have to go back and fix it. And I will tell you that it's cheaper sometimes if you just let somebody else do it and not have to fix it. But identify the right team and identify who's going to do what on that team. Develop a data migration plan. So when you transition from one LMS system to another, a well thought out data migration plan is essential. And this can be a complex process depending on how many courses and how many users you have. So preparing in advance can save you some time and headaches. Test. Thorough testing is crucial before going live with any new software. And train your team. Don't forget about the people that actually have to use it. Every new system has a learning curve. Allow ample time for comprehensive training to ensure your team understands how to use the new LMS. You may also need to develop new processes to share with them. So now let's talk about video for e-learning. So if you're planning on creating an effective e-learning course, video is one of the most essential and impactful tools in your course creation toolkit. Video is dynamic and engaging and draws your learners into the content. Video can help increase retention, explain complex concepts, and minimize the loss of learner attention spans. So let's discuss video for e-learning basics, best practices, and how to create an in-office or in-home video studio for e-learning. So video in e-learning, the basics. The video brings a human element to online learning by creating a sense of connection with instructors or peers, and it can increase retention through multimedia elements like sound, motion, and imagery, all of which help reinforce key messages. Ultimately, incorporating video into e-learning makes the learning process more interactive and accessible and memorable. Plus, it's an absolute must in the mobile age. In 2025 and beyond, you're not creating e-learning courses without video as part of them. So now let's discuss the different types of video that you have a choice of when developing e-learning courses and online training. So the first is talking head video. This is going to feature live action video footage featuring real people captured with a camera. This can include interviews, demonstrations, documentary footage, stock footage, fictional narrative scenes, somebody giving a presentation in front of a group, or even a screen capture of a PowerPoint. But the instructor is talking directly to the camera. The one thing I will say with talking head video, and the one issue that I have with video courses that you really have to keep in mind. Number one, you do not want videos longer than about 5 or 6 or 7 minutes. The days of a video with somebody preaching at the screen that are 30 or 60 minutes are gone. You will lose people after the first 10 minutes. The other thing is, keep in mind, talking head video is great because it allows you to see the instructor, it allows you to connect with them. But if all we see is that instructor with one camera angle and all he or she's doing, all they're doing is preaching to the screen, that gets really boring after a while. So a lot of times we will edit talking head video with some of the other types of video that I'm going to show you for maximum engagement and entertainment value, because really a lot of these courses, we're entertaining people to keep them engaged. And animation is a great way to engage and entertain people. And we have used animation for white collar, blue collar, doctors, lawyers, I mean, you name it, kids, older people. We use animation in probably 75–80% of the courses that we develop. And animation is a cost-effective tool to personalize. We have a lot of course authors or even companies, they don't want to provide video. They don't want to be on the screen. So we have to come up with themes and characters that kind of bring their content to life. And animation is a great way to do that. It's a professional way to promote that learner engagement. It easily and creatively communicates abstract or complex concepts using a unique visual style. We do all of our animation in a tool called Beyond. Beyond is about an $89 a month or a $650 a year animation tool. As with any piece of software, there's a learning curve. My folks have been using Beyond for years and years, and they are very, very good at it. But that allows us to really create a lot of fun video aspects to the courses that we create. So screen capture is another one. So screen capture is footage recorded from your computer desktop, your laptop, or mobile device. This type of video can show learners a complicated procedure by showing a recording of the actual process or interaction a user will need to do themselves. We use this a lot for demonstrating and teaching how to use software products. We also use this for recorded PowerPoints sometimes. So you're actually recording what's on the screen. You can also include facial video. It's good for lectures and presentations or guest speakers. I will say a tip of the trade when you're using it for recorded PowerPoints is that your PowerPoint slides have to be good and they have to be engaging and they have to move and have things going on. So just take time and attention if you're doing recorded PowerPoints that you're paying attention to the PowerPoint slides. We use a software program called Camtasia to do our screen capture recording. We also use Camtasia for voiceover work and a lot of our video editing. It'll cost you between $100 and $300, depending on what type of a company you are and how you buy it. The next is B-roll and graphics. So B-roll video uses clips of stock video footage and moving graphics to enhance text-based content and make it more engaging. Some people don't want to use animation, or B-roll just kind of fits the look and feel of their course better. We use a video hosting service called Vimeo. It's kind of like a professional version of YouTube. But the business edition, which costs about $199 a year, the business edition has a stock footage library and it has a video editing tool in it. We use other tools besides Vimeo, but it's a great one to use to get started to access B-roll footage. And then live broadcasts. This footage is transmitted in real time to connect screens for events like Zoom, Microsoft Teams meetings, or webinars like this one. It also can be used for virtual instructor-led training conducted live. And there's different services, but a lot of times Zoom is a great way to record live broadcasts. So now let's talk about best practices for using video in e-learning. So almost any text-based content can be converted into some type of video content. Look at what you've already written and think about what might work best to become video content. When you're planning your videos before you dive in, again, you want to keep in mind your budget, how much video you actually need in minutes, because a lot of companies, mine included, charge by the minute for finished video sometimes. Then we sometimes also price it included in a project. So you're going to want to know my speaking word rate, because I've done a lot of the voiceovers for our video, is 150 words a minute. So that's kind of a great little trick, that every 150 words of your script is a minute of video, and kind of lets you have a idea of how long your video is going to be based on your script. And then decide whether you're going to make it yourself or you're going to hire a professional to help you. You're going to want to review your existing material, select the content for your video, turn that text into a video script, plan visual elements, review it, and then get feedback. Video can effectively communicate your content and bring your material to life in a dynamic and engaging way. That's really kind of the point, that we really want to bring that engagement level into our e-learning. I mean, we've all taken boring online courses. Who wants to do that? Video can really help the engagement level with training online. And breaking content into shorter, more frequent videos instead of longer, fewer videos are going to improve learner retention and make the material easier to digest. Utilize that micro-learning concept, short, frequent videos. When creating your videos, think about them from the learner's perspective rather than your own. You have a knowledge of what you're trying to teach, your learner doesn't. So consider how first-time viewers will experience the content, focusing on clarity and the main message rather than scrutinizing background details. Tailor your script to the format. Not all written content translates directly into video. You might have to adapt your text for clarity and flow in a visual format. So if you're planning to record your own video, you're going to need some essential gear to set up that in-home or in-office studio. There's a great deal of options at a variety of prices. And remember, at the end of the day, if you're going to do it yourself, the best camera, the best sound, lighting, and editing options are the ones you have access to. If you can't afford something right away, use what you have to start to create your content. And honestly, that's what I did. I do have a video studio in my house that if you go on my website and you look at YouTube and you see me in a set with my matching backgrounds that we were talking about earlier, those are shot in a home studio. And over the course of the years, we've upgraded the lighting and we've upgraded the cameras. So let's talk about these different things. So cameras, if you're shooting in a large studio space or featuring multiple people on camera, the keywords to look for in your camera model are cinema and 6K. So this designates the resolution and overall quality of the footage that you can shoot is going to be top notch. Cameras of this caliber are usually over $1,000 plus. They usually don't come with lenses. You may need to purchase that separately. If so, look for a wide angle lens. Options include the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K. That's what I use in my studio. There's a Sony AR7 and A7S, and then there's Canon EOS R6 or R7. Mid-budget cameras can still provide terrific images for $300 to $1,000. Think about buying used equipment. That's what I did when I got started. I started with a Canon Rebel T7 that was on eBay, and we started shooting with that, and then we upgraded over the years. If you're shooting footage in your home office, you may be able to get away with using a webcam for less than $200, like a Logitech Brio 505, and use it with a recording program such as Camtasia. Low budget includes using your mobile phone or the built-in computer camera. Today's iPhones and mobile phones have fantastic cameras, so don't be afraid to use those. Audio. So audiences are actually more forgiving of poor picture quality than they are of poor audio quality. So achieving clean audio and getting just the right settings for your environment and the recording equipment you're actually using in post-production is super important. Pay attention to your recording space. You can actually improve sound quality substantially with blankets, pillows, and soft furniture. You want to eliminate sound bouncing off the walls. I've heard of people doing voiceovers in their closets at home. But even talking into blankets and pillows can really eliminate a lot of echo. And so you don't sound like you're in a bucket. High-end audio equipment, $200 plus, would include the Rode NT1A mic. That's the one, again, that I use. Rode is a fantastic maker of audio microphones, and there's many models. The Shure MV7 is another. Mid-budget, under $200, the Blue Yeti USB microphone is a great choice. And then low budget, use your phone or the internal mic on your computer. Your computer isn't going to have as good a sound as one of these professional mics, but again, if that's what you have to use, that's what you have to use. Lighting. So lighting a space properly often requires more than one light. You'll likely need separate lights for your subject, the full space, and some supplemental lights to fill in the shadows and make your space look even. On the high end, a key light, 2 fill lights, and a bounce board will allow you to make a bright, even image with some shading, depth, and controllable tonality. Depending on the size of your space, you may want to include more of these kinds of lights. A full kit like this usually starts in the $500 range and goes up from there. Mid-budget would include an LED ring light. You can get one on Amazon for less than $200. In fact, I just ordered another one for some things that we were doing about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I do have a full high-end kit with all the big lights, but every once in a while, those ring lights work really, really well, particularly for webinar type situations. And then low or no budget, natural lighting. Place yourself in a home studio or office next to a window, and you need to understand the theory and fundamentals of lighting. It can be super helpful, but natural lighting, you can get some great looks to your video as well. And one of the most neglected aspects of creating your own video content is performance. The main element of your video that ensures energy, enthusiasm, and engagement is you or the person that you're recording, not the lesson content itself. So that energy you bring to convey to your audience will directly translate into their emotional feelings about the content itself. So when setting out to film yourself or someone else, whether it's in a home situation or an office, keep performance techniques in mind to make sure your on-camera production is as fruitful as your ability behind the camera. And we've talked about e-learning, we've talked about LMS systems, we've talked about video. I'm sure you have some questions, so I'll hand it back to you, Thea, and you can tell me what questions we may have to answer.
Okay, let me go to the top of our questions. Let's see. You gave us some really good topics, some really good products that we can engage with. Let me just throw it out there like this. If we had an organization that had 150 people, we expect to have about 25 courses that we want to provide to them. What are the top 3 companies or tools that you would suggest that we use or start to look at?
So definitely LMS systems would be LearnWorlds. Those are perfect numbers for that product, and it would be very cost effective. There's a lot of features in that system. I prefer interactive courses versus just video. So possibly Articulate Storyline and Rise. Those are the 2 authoring tools that my company uses. So either getting those and understanding how to use them, or hiring somebody that creates courses in those tools. And depending on if you were doing recorded PowerPoints or any type of voice features, Camtasia might also, that's a great video editing tool. So possibly Camtasia.
Excellent. Let's see. I've got some. Tamara has a question.
Tamara, yeah, I was just going to say.
Tamara, what is your question?
So we're using Articulate Storyboard to create a series of, I guess, modules. And I'm going to try to intersperse like question scenarios into them in order to make sure that our learners are really delving deep into the nitty-gritty of a report management system that we're trying to get them to understand. Is there a time frame or a number of questions that you've seen that kind of would encompass like a good overarching without learning fatigue for our students?
Well, it would really kind of depend on what the depth of the content that you're trying to teach. If this is, a great deal of content that encompasses like one of the books that we were looking at prior to getting into the talk, that's going to encompass a lot more questions than if you're teaching single subjects in a micro course. Articulate Storyline, again, we use that product. Rise, the online version of Storyline sometimes tends to be easier to use and program, but if you've got somebody on staff that knows how to use Storyline, that's great. The thing I think you most want to think of is breaking it up. So you don't want to have, 10 separate questions all in a row. You might want to have 2 or 3 questions, and then you have another video, and you have some content they interact with, and you have a scenario, and then maybe you have other questions, or maybe you even have the questions built into the scenario. We do that a lot. The other thing to keep in mind is, are you keeping track of the answers of those knowledge checks? And do you have a separate test at the end of the system? Sometimes, depending on the LMS, it won't track both. It'll only track an actual quiz or test at the end. So, do you have to actually keep track of what the answers to your knowledge checks would be? But I would probably not have more than 2 or 3 knowledge checks at a time. And then I would want to break it up with more content and more video.
Okay, thank you so much.
Thank you, Kim. Irina, you're talking about a Jetty Blue mic. And what camera are you using right now, Kim? She wants to know, which camera are you using right now?
Right now, I'm just on my Apple Mac. This is just my good old desktop. There is actually no fancy audio or video equipment going on with this webinar tonight. Mainly when I use the Blackmagic camera and the audio equipment that I talked about, that's when we're shooting video, or we're doing stuff for social media, or we're doing content for courses. When I do webinars, I'm actually just using the camera that's on my Apple.
Okay.
Can I quickly ask another question? if you are, for example, writing any podcast or video, having a background, is it a good practice or not really, and better to keep like natural one?
Well, I like backgrounds. I like the background that, it has something to do with my business or it has a professional look. That's me. Now, I've also in my studio got paper backdrops. I'm going to blank on the name of the company, but they're actually photography backdrops. They come in every color imaginable. You can get them for anywhere between probably 40 and 70 bucks. And you can hang it behind you and pull it down when you're doing a webinar. And if you don't like that Zoom fake background, which I don't like because you lose people's heads.
Quality, yeah, I'm asking about quality.
The quality is horrible. So I would much rather have an actual backdrop or use the photographic paper. Those are the two backdrops that I use when I'm doing webinars. Now, I tend to be a little pickier than I know a lot of people about what they want their backdrop to look like, but I like to have a professional backdrop, especially if it's going to be something that's recorded, that's going to be out there forever and a day. I want to make sure it's kind of got a look and feel that is relevant to my company. So I either have a backdrop that's built on the wall or photography paper is a great option. You can use that anywhere.
Irina, one of my favorite podcasters, she has a folding screen behind her. And I can tell, I can see through the screen because I'm ADD and I see every single thing. So I can see there's a light. I can see a light behind the screen. I can't figure out what's behind the screen. It doesn't matter. The screen keeps it where I can just see her and I can pay attention to what she has. But folding screens are great because you can move them around the room and change the lighting.
Yeah, thank you.
We need to end the meeting today. Kim, you did a fantastic job. I appreciate it so much. We have a study group that's supposed to start right now, so I need to end, but I so appreciate it. I did have a request if you can share your deck with us. I'll post it on in our Google Drive so people can get access to that. I would really appreciate
Absolutely.
You brought us some information. If y'all have never created your own training, it is so much harder than you think it is going to be. I sincerely, I'm telling you, it'll take you 6 times as long and you will be so exhausted and you won't be happy with the result. If you have somebody with experience, reach out to them and just talk about what it would look like. Okay? All right, guys. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the CBAP study group if you're going. Talk to you there.
Yeah.
Bye.
See you.